trying to figure out what I was thinking. I am I'm just I'm just Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-I-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy schmancy stuff going on here. I just read books and talk about books. I'm sorry my thumbnails aren't great. I'm sorry my titles aren't great. I'm doing my best here. I'm reading as fast as I can. I'm talking about the books with you. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking about the books with you. So, about a month ago, I read this book, and I like historicals. I like historicals. And I am a big, huge Beatrice Small fan. Please go watch my Sky O'Malley series. I love my Sky O'Malley. I love my historical mysteries. She has to do this. So, I read this book and I decided I didn't realize it until I was doing the video for the book. And then I had this light bulb moment. You don't read a book 23. When you read a series, you start with book 1. That's how you know who all the characters are. And I said to myself, if I had started with book 1, then I would have enjoyed thoroughly the what has happened to my character since the last book. Some catching up in the beginning. But there was just so many people and there were so many things. I was so I got this idea, and I'm trying to decide if it was a good idea or not, because I'm really ticked off at myself. I'm really, really mad at myself. And I'm trying to figure out if I did the right thing or not. Because I got this stupid idea in my brain, and I need to go buy me some more Stuart Woods. I bought them years ago, and then I stupidly gave them away, and I'm like, no, I need to, because it would be a good series to do for the videos. But instead of doing the Stuart Wood stuff, I decided, like I said, I only read the first so many chapters of the book back in December or something like that. And I decided, I got it in my head, well, why don't you get the first books of the series and try this again, and then do a reread after you've read the other 23. So, now I'm trying to figure out why I bought this book. And 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 this book. So, we're gonna read them. So, I find myself having similar complaints to book 23. Now, I assumed in book 23 that because we'd read all the books, you know who she is. So I had assumed incorrectly that she would introduce herself in this book too. She did not. It is until page 5 that we find out the name of our heroine is Ursula Blanchard. And we learn that she's having financial difficulties since the death of her husband and therefore has to let her manservant go, John, whom she cares about a lot. And then we hear more about him and we do her daughter Meg and the nursemaid Bridget for Meg. We also learn that she's asked family members for assistance and it's just gone 6 ways to Sunday. I feel like we should be witnessing the goodbye between the mother and daughter between mother and daughter instead of the weeping farewell between Ursula and her manservant. She should be saying bye to the kid. We should see it on stage, not off stage. I was just so angry most of this book. So Ursula is going to be earning a stipend of £30 a year to become a lady of the presence chamber. I couldn't figure it out. I even looked it up, and it was like lady of the bedroom chamber or the. I have no idea. I still can't find it. I will look up, but I will continue. I still have no idea what a presence chamber is. Presence. Presence chamber. She goes to court and she's greeted by Lady Catherine, who introduces her to all the ladies in court and then takes her room, where she discovered that Ursula does not have a lady maid, which is totally, absolutely unacceptable, and gets her this lady maid who's desperate for funds and desperate to stay at court. So she gets Dale, and Dale turns out to be a good egg, a really good person. And then you are informed that we have received word that Mary Stuart, Queen of Scotland in her own right, and Queen of France by right of her marriage, is not content with all these great honors. She still wants to be Queen of England. So there's some stuff with Mary Stuart going on, and then, of course, Queen Elizabeth. And there's some court stuff going on. And then William Dudley, I forget, I got the first name wrong. Dudley is in love with the queen, but they can't get married because he's already married and she's a queen and she can't, be marrying the likes of him. And there's a lot of history here and there's some intrigue, and you're not really, it's just a long walk in the park. It reminds me of some of my Regencies, where the guy and gal go for a walk in the park on horse carriage, and they greet Mrs. So-and-so, and then they greet cousin this one, and then they greet gossip this one, and then they greet and it was just like, and I kept going, why did I buy all these books? Why didn't I just buy one book, see if I liked it, and then decided then? But no! I was anxious. Because I like Regency. And she goes, so there are two different plot lines. Well, the queen gives her a horse too. Oh, and I also, because I want to see how many people these show up. There's 26 characters that I kept track of. There's probably others that, I didn't keep track of. But we have John Wilton is her former husband's servant. Meg, her daughter. Bridget, the nurse. Sir Thomas Grantham is a financier. Lady Catherine Grey. Catherine Knowles, cousin to the Queen on her mother's side. Miss Ashley, Robin Dudley, Master of the Horse. That's it, Robin. He's the guy with the Queen. He's in love with the Queen, but he can't be with her because he's already married. And his wife is home ill. She's deathly ill. And supposedly, she has breast cancer. Supposedly. I think she's being slowly, gradually poisoned. They've gotten rid of anybody. They won't let the doctor come by to even check on her because they don't want word getting out. And word spreads that she's dying. And they all think Dudley's doing it anyway. And his wife is dying. And where the hell is he? Is he at court? His wife is home dying. He should be with his wife. Right? No! The Buninsky Butts at court. I was just so pissed. Then we meet Sir William Cecil. And from what I gather from book 23, Mr. Cecil's going to be important, so we know we're going to pay attention to him. Then we have Uncle Herbert and Aunt Tabitha, who are treat Ursula badly. And then we have Thomas Blunt, who's the cousin of Dudley. Arthur Robsart is Lady Dudley's half-brother. Martin Bristow is a servant. Anthony Forrester is treasurer of the household. And that was another thing. That was another one of my light bulb moments. So she's at court for a while. She doesn't even like, can I go visit my daughter for she never even goes to see her daughter the whole time she's there. Never, messages, blah blah blah. And so there's so much. I feel like she's neglecting. I know she's got the nurse there, and I know she did it for reason. I know. So some time passes, and Dudley and the Queen approach her and say, look, we're going to give you extra money. You're going to go to Dudley's house, and you're going to babysit his wife until she dies so that you can verify that she's not being killed or anything. Except that when she gets there, the household is a disaster. And I'm thinking, where is Sky O'Malley? That was my other big thing. Where is that page? One of the things I just realized in chapter 6, what is wrong here? I miss Sky O'Malley. She would have walked into that house and she would have took charge of those servants. She would have told them the proper way to do things and how to get along and establish a hierarchy and the whole thing. And she doesn't do any of that. And I just irked the life out of me. And so she's going to spend some time with Dudley's, and she gets suspicions. She gets a little scared. So she sends Milton to write a note to William Cecil. And you know what happens? Milton gets taken upon and murdered. And by the time word reaches her, she's with him for like an hour or so, and then he dies. I don't know, maybe a day. No, less than a day. And then he dies. So he was set upon by 3 gentlemen who killed him. So obviously they did not want, either he overheard something, or they knew about her messages to William Cecil. There's speculation about that, and you'll have to read that. I'll leave that part to you. So he dies. So she's left alone. She goes back to the house. And on one day, there's a little county fair, and Amy says that's the Miss Dudley's name, makes her go to the fair. And while Ursula is at the fair, and while the rest of the household is at the fair, she falls down the stairs and breaks her neck and dies. And it is later revealed that it was murder. So I'm over it. I so want to just leave it. Because Ursula just doesn't have the backbone I'm looking for with, my Alyssa Maxwell series, or the Shellman series, or the Victoria Thompson series, the backbone for investigation, or, Sky O'Malley and her household, and her standing up to the Queen, and I just can't help comparing her to all these different books that I've read. So now I'm stuck. So in a week or so, you'll see this. And then you'll see this. And then you'll see this. I'm over it. I'm so over it already. But I made a commitment, and I'm going to go through with it. So we'll see what happens. This book took forever. I'd read a chapter, put it down. Read a chapter, put it down. Read a chapter, put it down. I was like, come on already. Get going. Go somewhere. But we would do it a stroll here and there and here and there and take care of this. And Ursula has her suspicions, and it just drove me nuts. So freaking angry at myself. Should have bought the Do It World series, and I'm still gonna do that. But now I'm stuck. Now I've got to read this one. And then I've got to read this one. And then I'm going to read this one. I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm so pissed off. I'm so royally pissed off. I should like this. I should like it a bunch. And she just doesn't have the backbone. She just doesn't have she doesn't have my Sky O'Malley backbone. She doesn't have my investigative instincts of all my other gal pals. So we'll see what happens and see what goes on. See if it gets better. See if I decide to like it better. Because I'm just so pissed off right now. But anyway, this is what happens when you read a book chapter, put it down, read a chapter, put it down. You end up doing stuff in the middle of the night. So we wear our middle of the night podcast shirt. So we can wear our jammies underneath. Sorry, TMI. I know it. So, what do you think to shield the queen? Oh, good God. And it turns out there's not only the plot, there's like 2 separate plots to get to the queen. But then there's also the Dudley plot, and then there's an alternate plot of, what you call it? She ends up, marrying somebody to save herself. So, I mean, I completely forgot about that part. But yes, she marries this guy. So, oh look, there's a co-host. You're late to the party, co-host. Oh, alright. Have a good one.